Opening comments, then afterwards we will rotate the microphone throughout the room. Coach, the podium is yours.
Appreciate it. It's good to be back. Certainly means that the season is right around the corner, which I couldn't be more excited about. I always, when I come to this event, it reminds me again how fortunate I am to be the head coach at a place like Virginia Tech, a place that I love. I'm very thankful for Whit Babcock, our athletic director, our president, Dr. Tim Sands, our board of visitors, for the opportunity to coach these guys and represent Virginia Tech. I'm also very excited and proud of the guys that we brought today to help represent our team, our players, our organization. Outstanding young men that represent everything that Virginia Tech is about, that I want our program to be about. I'm excited and encouraged by the leadership from our players, from our new coordinators, our new strength and conditioning coach. We made some upticks in some really important areas in our program. We needed to have the type of offseason that we're having. Our roster is deeper. We've had an influx of talented transfers, high school signees, and young men that we've developed in the program over the last couple of years. Guys that we've recruited and have been in the system for multiple years. I'm also excited and encouraged by the type of offseason we've had. When we reflected on the 2024 year, it was evident to me that we needed to be a more mentally and physically tough team. That starts with me, and we've addressed it in each phase of our offseason program, the winter, the spring, and the summer. The leadership that Jarrett Ferguson's provided in the strength and conditioning arena has been outstanding. The changes on defense with Sam Seifkus, offense with Phil Montgomery and Matt Moore. I'm a big fan of our staff and our players right now. The other thing that we did this offseason, we doubled down on our team building. In today's game, with the influx of players, the transfers, the high school additions, now more than ever, and especially at a place like Virginia Tech, team is where it starts and ends. So the guys have embraced it, the coaches have embraced it. We've had several unique opportunities to grow as a team, to become more and more selfless and put this team first, put this brotherhood first. We're making great strides in that area as well. I couldn't be more excited about the team that we have the opportunity to be. Excited about the opener. The opportunity, that's why these young men come to Virginia Tech, to play on the big stage, to play on national TV, to play a marquee opponent that's very talented, well coached, arguably a playoff team last year. So we've got a lot to prove in Blacksburg, and we've still got this preseason camp to attack and make sure we make the most of it. I'll take some questions, please.
Coach, thank you. Folks, if you would, please identify yourselves and the agency that you are with, and we will actually start left side. The gentleman in the green shirt, we've put in new protocol because of the lighting. If you would, from about the third row back, if you would please stand so our student athletes and coaches can see you. Thank you much.
How you doing, Coach?
Good.
Colby Dant, college football experience. You were 0-6 in games by 10 points or less last year. Have you made that a point of emphasis of closing out games this offseason?
Yeah, we've certainly talked about it a lot, as well as everybody else. But first of all, was coaching decisions, making sure we're making the right decisions, not just at the end of the game, but throughout the game. And then secondly, being the team that is more mentally and physically tough and prepared at the end of a game to close it out. So there's a couple different areas that we focused on to make sure we're better there. And certainly we've talked about it. We've leaned into it as a program. You know, how close we were to being the team that we want to be. We were competitive week in and week out and just kept finding ways to come up short as a staff and as a team. So, you know, we should arguably be improved in that area. We've put a lot of emphasis there.
Coach right side, it'll be about middle of the room.
Hello, Coach Steve with College Football Sunday. Making my first trip to Lane Stadium this year. Can you speak on the advantage of having 7 games at Lane Stadium?
Yeah, I'd like to have 8 or 9 every year, to be honest. One of the most unbelievable environments in all of college football. I'm glad you're coming. You're not going to be disappointed. From the entrance throughout, we got an incredible fan base. You know, blue jeans, sweatshirts, standing all game long, cheering all game long. Our guys can speak more about it, but it's a great atmosphere to play in, to coach in, to watch a football game in. Certainly love it, a home game versus an away game.
Coach, we'll go to the left side, again, about the middle of the room.
Hello there, Owen Hillman, WVFS Tallahassee. So as a former defensive coordinator for several years, could you speak to the transfers in the edge room?
One more time, I'm sorry.
As a former defensive coordinator, going into the coaching ranks, could you speak to the transfers in the edge room? Could you speak to what are you most excited about with them?
Yeah, first of all, you know, I'm excited about the coordinator hire we've made. Coach Siefkas has he's young, but he has some really good experiences. At the college level, tremendous success at Wofford, a couple of different ways. And then in the NFL, not just that he was in the league, but the defensive minds that he spent time with while coaching there. So, and then the additions from the transfer, we needed a shot in the arm in our secondary with some depth, some safety type bodies, some guys that can track the ball and tackle, and you know we helped ourselves there. You know, then I love what we've done. We needed to reinforce the depth at linebacker with J.K. and Caleb, and we were able to do that with a couple of young men out of the portal. And then we've helped ourselves, you know, up front. You know, we've supplied a bunch of depth at all positions along the front, end and tackle. So I think we've added the depth, we've added the experience, and we've added some talent on that side of the ball. And we were able to do some of that with, you know, the new system in place, you know, being able to make sure we have what Coach Siefkas needs from a personnel standpoint.
Coach right side, just up the center aisle.
Coach, QCB, Fox Sports Radio, Charlotte. Your first 2 games at the gate, you're taking on 2 SEC schools. The first one in South Carolina with, you know, Sellers possibly could be a Heisman candidate, and then Vandy, who got you guys last year in a close one in overtime. What's the mindset or the approach you're going to take and tell the team when you're going against these 2 SEC opponents the first 2 games of the season?
Yeah, honestly, in general, we feel like we have something to prove. And that's been the mindset, you know, since the end of the season. So the opportunity to play South Carolina, to play Vanderbilt at night in Lane Stadium, again, that's why these guys come to Virginia Tech. That's why I wanted to be back. And the standards and the expectations are to beat those guys, to win those games, like Tech did for a bunch of years. And, you know, so it's challenging. South Carolina is a hell of a football team. They've recruited well. They got a ton of momentum. They got a dynamic edge guy. They got an ultra-talented quarterback. We got our hands full, but we're up for the challenge. And, you know, we're working every day to be the best team that we can be, to go down there and play a good brand of football. And then, you know, Vanderbilt, great respect for Clark Lee. I know Clark. He's done a tremendous job. I coached at Vanderbilt 3 years. I know the challenges in that place. And he's done a tremendous job. They'll bring a really good football team in here, and they got their own quarterback that's awful talented. So, but I like our group. I like our quarterback. I like our guys. I like the direction we're going. This team right now is the closest to the vision I have for Virginia Tech football, for what I want us to be and who I want us to be. We're closer than we've ever been.
Coach left side, first row.
Dan Tortora, wakeupcalldt.com. Coach, new offensive coordinator Philip Montgomery's had a lot of experience, as a head coach and an OC in a lot of different places. What did you see in him that you felt like was going to be the right fit for your team here with the Hokies?
Yeah, that's a great question, and it's pretty easy to answer. First of all, I wanted somebody that would give us the best opportunity, us and Kyron, for him to reach all of his potential and then some. And when you look at Phil's track record with quarterbacks, it's hard to argue that he's not the right guy to do that. And then secondly, to bring a play caller in here that has a proven plan, that he believes in, that he is super knowledgeable about, that you're not reinventing the wheel every week and trying to find answers and trying to find solutions and trying to, that we can invest and buy into a plan and a system and have answers. And Phil provides all that. He's an experienced play caller. He's a veteran quarterback developer, and he's an outstanding person. So feel very fortunate to have him with us.
Coach, we're going to go right side. You can focus on the camera ahead of you and then go just to the right.
Hey, Coach, Noah Chast, ABC Columbia. You touched on it a few answers ago, but starting the season with South Carolina, in your early preparation, what has stood out to you about that team? And then from your side, what are the strengths you have that you think matches up well with South Carolina?
Yeah, first of all, I think the way they responded to adversity early in their season, testament to Shane and to that group of coaches and players to rally back and finish the way they did. And, they've notched some big wins, which is where we're still trying to get. We came awful close on a Friday night down in Miami, but we haven't garnered that type of win. And, South Carolina presents an opportunity to do that. They're arguably a top 10 group. They're talented on both fronts. They've got a really, their defensive line is productive. They're athletic. They're tenacious. They got a great plan defensively. I think the quarterback's one of the best in the country, and he's only going to get better. I think the pieces around him, the offensive line down the stretch played as well as any group out there. And, veteran coaches, and I know they're doing it the right way. We're going to have our hands full, but we've got a good group. And, we're hungry and we're competing and we're deeper. We've got a bunch of transfers, but these transfers have a ton of experience, guys with a lot of reps at other places. And, and they've really come together nicely. And, it's going to be a dogfight. We're going to give them everything that we got, that's for sure.
Coach, we're going to squeeze in your last question, second row, left side.
Chris Powell, Couch Coach Live. Coach, from a recruiting standpoint, the Richmond, Virginia area, how does that stack up against other regions in the state of Virginia and also nationally?
Yeah, Richmond's come on strong, and KG's a testament to that. He'll be happy to answer that question too. They brag about it and fight about it and argue about it all the time. But Richmond's been a great area to us. There's coaches in that area that are Virginia Tech guys that went to school at Tech, that played at Tech. There's a long history of guys having success at Virginia Tech from Richmond. Obviously, the whole Commonwealth is important to us. We've made a real emphasis to invest in our state. There's more than enough good football players in the state of Virginia to compete for championships. But, Richmond and the connections there have been very valuable to us and will continue to be.
Coach, thank you. You can switch places with Kyron, and we will talk to our quarterback for just a little bit. Again, if you would please identify yourselves and the agency that you are with. We'll start our first question on the right side, then we'll go left side. So Kyron to your right, third row.
Kenton Gibbs with Locked On ACC. Kyron, you've been a guy that when we've seen you at your best, we know you're one of the best quarterbacks in the nation, but the consistency and the injuries and all that have kind of held you back a little bit here. What is it about this season and the changes in coordinators and all that that you've had that you believe will allow you to, like Coach Pry said, reach your maximum full realized potential?
Just the level of consistency Coach Monty wants me to get to each and every day, the standard he sets me to. I just love our bond already, even though I've only been with him since January. Me and him got so close, just him being a quarterback guy, and he also offered me coming out of high school. So he's been wanting me to be his quarterback, and I'm just glad I get the opportunity with him.
Kyron, follow the center aisle and then look just to the left.
Billy Ray Mitchell, Sons of Saturday. Kyron, happy birthday.
Oh, thank
happy
you.
birthday today. 2 questions for you. That's right, happy birthday. How old are you, Kyron?
22.
22 years old, so a 2-part question here. How do you feel you've most grown as a player this offseason? And on the birthday theme, what is the biggest piece of advice that you'd give yourself a year ago today?
How I feel like I prepared, just being a better leader. Like we said, we got a hella transfers coming in this past offseason. And then even though I was dealing with injuries, just being that more vocal leader since I couldn't be out there for some of the weeks during workouts, just trying to get back when I did get my procedure done, trying to get back and lead by example, getting the guys to be closer team. Like Coach said, this is the closest team I've been around for the past 2 years at Virginia Tech. It reminds me of my first year at Baylor, and then we had a good season there. So, yeah, just being a better leader, and then just the advice I'll give myself is just to keep going no matter what and don't really listen to the outside things and don't really care about what other people say.
Kyron to the right, about fifth row.
Brandon Pockers with the league winners. Heading into fall camp, what is the biggest focus for you and the offense? And then heading into the regular season, what's the biggest thing you and the unit want to accomplish?
Just being more consistent, being more explosive. Coach Monty infuses that confidence that we needed as an offense, just allowing us to go out there and play freer, faster, and do a lot of good things. My job is just to get the ball to playmakers and let them go make plays for me.
Kyron, we're going to go left side, right there in the front row, right in front of you.
Kyron, Dan Tortora, wakeupcalldt.com. You share a birthday with my mom, so that's been.
Oh, happy birthday to her.
But I did want to take a look at that offensive line in front of you. I know there's going to be some new starters there. Just what you can say about the guys protecting you and what you've seen out of them as you step forward.
They've been doing a real good job. They've been doing extra workouts outside of the workouts we've been doing, just being in that extra meeting room with Coach Moore. I'm thankful that I got that line for me. I wouldn't want any other O-line in the country. But my best five is Johnny, Lath, Kyle, Montavious, Tommy. They've been doing real good things, and I'm excited I got them in front.
Kyron, right side, about the fourth row.
Good morning. Davon Nixon with Fox Sports Radio Charlotte. With you going to Virginia Tech with prestigious quarterbacks like the Vic brothers, Tyrod Taylor, and you training with Shador Sanders and Cam Ward, who's in the league now, is there a specific quarterback that brings the best out of you, whether you speak with them, train with them, or watch their film or highlights?
I haven't got a chance to train with Tyrod yet, so I wouldn't know about him. But I would say I'm a lot self-motivated than anything. But training with Cam and Shador, you know, they compete in anything they do. So, yeah, just being with them, when I get with them in the summer, it's a lot of competitiveness back and forth, chipping and chirping there. So they really bring the best out of me.
Kyron, from the podium, when you think about your leadership skills and your decision-making, how do you practice being a leader?
I mean, you just got to go out there, and even when you feel like you don't want to say anything, you just got to go say it. Everybody know I'm not that rah-rah, scream type of guy. I got my own way in being a leader. You just got to know who you're talking to. Know if you got a person next to you that you can yell at and get on somebody that they can take it, and then a person that can't really take that, and you just got to go out there and talk and see what they got going on. So just really getting to know my brothers and getting to know them and seeing how I got to lead them to get them to my standard and the team standard and get them coming along.
So reading your teammates is like reading a defense, right?
Yeah, something like that.
Who else wants a question for our quarterback? Seeing none, you can switch places with Kelvin. We'll spend time with our D lineman. Folks, same protocol. Please introduce yourselves and the agency that you're with. And Kelvin, we will start to your right, third row.
Kenton Gibbs with Locked On ACC. Kelvin, you all are losing about 20-some-odd sacks between APR, Aeneas, and Pele from last season. What is the plan to kind of replace that? Because I know you don't expect to replace them one-for-one in terms of man-for-man, but as a unit, what's the plan to replace them? And who are some names that we should be looking for to step up, including yourself, that are kind of going to fill in those gaps next year?
Yeah, those guys definitely did a great job last year. It's like you see them going to the next level. And for them, me coming back and playing with those guys taught me a lot, whether it's their strengths in the pass game or any of their weaknesses that they have. And for them, my message to this D-line that's coming up, look what we did last year. Look at the success we had last year, regardless of the score. And so I told those guys, man, we can come and do the same exact thing because those guys taught me a lot, wherever it's their pass rush skills, wherever it's, get off. And for them, the success that they had, then for me to come back and leave behind, it's just been a great deal and stuff. And some guys that I get to mention, Benjamin Bell, James DeJunctum, Keyshawn Burgos, Kamari Copeland, I could go on and on because I love to brag about these guys. These are the same guys that show up to work each and every day since January. And I told these guys, we're on a mission. We're on a mission for success.
Kelvin, left side, right in front of you.
Dan Tortora, wakeupcalldt.com. Kelvin, you heard your coach talk about being a more mentally and physically tough team. Just to speak to the mental side of things and how you personally have seen yourself grow on the mental toughness side.
Yeah, definitely. You see in those close games how many times, we just fall short. And so most things, that could be a physical aspect, that could be a mental aspect. And for them, since January, we're really just finding out where do we go wrong in those types of games. And Coach Ferguson has really emphasized, being mentally tough, where there's been harder workouts, where there's been, extreme training, whatever we've done. The whole point of that is to see when we get in those dog fights, when we get in those close moments, to see what we really about, what we really can do.
Kelvin, right side, about the fifth row.
Brand the Pockers of the league winners. Heading into fall camp, what's the mentality that you and the rest of your unit are trying to instill in each other? And as you head towards the regular season, what's the thing you are most excited to showcase, whether it's yourself or the unit as a whole, to the wider college football landscape?
Showing up every day, consistency, that's the first thing, because I'm telling you, everybody's going to be fired up, hype on day one. It's going to be those practices, which I call those dog days of camp, where you might really don't got it that day, or you might really don't got the pep in your step that day. Those are going to be the days when we really see what we're about. And the mentality in going to fall camp is going to set the tone for our season. It's going to be the same thing that we've been doing since the offseason. It's coming out there, getting ready to work, getting 1% better each and every day. And like you said, how can I, be better in my game aspect? It's just the same thing. I came in on this team, and I came back to be a leader on this team. And on the same fact that these guys are counting on me to show up day in and day out, wherever it's on the field, wherever it's in the film room, wherever it's in a leadership standpoint. And for me, these guys, really look up to me, and that's the respect thing that I have towards my guys. And for me, it's really being that guy on the field, that guy that don't want to come out of the game, that guy that when it's time to make a play, that I'm showing up ready to go.
Kelvin, from the podium, there's a great picture of you from your bio page on the Tech website. You are sitting during warm-ups, seemingly staring into an empty stadium before the gates open.
Yeah.
How do you prepare mentally before a game?
Me preparing mentally a game, it definitely shifted. I could see during Syracuse, whereas, okay, maybe what am I looking for? What am I manifesting towards? What are my thoughts that's going on to the game? And I know that exact picture you talking about. Really during that moment, I'm just thinking about, really reflecting on my past, maybe my past success, my past failures, and really going now to what I'm about to do, really taking that mental toll of what I'm about to really do in the next few hours.
Kelvin, thank you. You can switch places with Jaden, and we will round out our time with the linebacker. Folks, when Mr. Keller gets up here, please identify yourselves and the agency you are with, please. Questions for Jaden? Jaden, seeing none, I will start it here from the podium. What areas of your game have you really worked on during the offseason to make sure you are ready for camp in the season?
Oh, yeah. Definitely some of the areas we worked on, just me and as the linebackers, me, Seawood, Mike Short, Santiago, all those type of guys, just really just working on, the key reads, the key triangles, stuff like that. Just having Coach Chief gets here and, coming from the league, him being a linebacker coach and all that stuff, just being able to learn and pick his brain on how, things he might have learned in the league, things he might have learned at previous schools. So just really just being able to fine-tune our game going into camp. Camp is a crucial point for the season and what we're trying to do and get what we're trying to do and have the defense that we want to have. So just being able to fine-tune all the little small things, like learning the ins and outs of the new defense, this new coordinator, which is a great defense, and just being able to, be that defense that Tech once was, and we're ready to bring that Tech type of defense back. So really just being able to fine-tune all the small things going into camp, run reads, pass reads, all those type of sort of things. So just being able to, get better each and every day.
Right side, third row.
Kenton Gibbs with Locked On ACC. Jaden, last year at times it looked like you knew where the play was going before, the offense fully got through running it. Is that a function of your film study? Is that a function of your instincts? Or is that the speed coming out from being a converted defensive back to linebacker?
I think it's a little mix of all three. You know, just being like, there's so many different aspects that go into being a linebacker. But yeah, definitely a big part of it is film study. You know, watching film. You know, we do a pretty good job watching film on our opponent, whether that's running backs, tight ends, tendencies, whatever that is. But the film study, you know, just it comes with experience. You know, the more you play, the game kind of sort of slows down. The more reps you get. So really, just the more comfortable you're out there. You know, mix that with film study, mix that with the DB experience and all the extra stuff. You know, just being able to have an idea. You want to be able to anticipate what they're going to do, and not to really react and kind of like be surprised by their plays or anything, but kind of have an idea of like their top runs, top passes, things of that nature. You know, that makes you play faster. So it takes the thinking out of football. You're just out there playing the game that you love. You know, the game you grew up playing. So just being able to play that type of football where you're not reacting, you're really anticipating their type of plays. That's where it gets you to speed.
Left side, first row.
Dan Tortora, wakeupcalldt.com. Jaden, you spoke about Sam Seifkus, the new defensive coordinator, a little bit. What is it about his leadership style that speaks to you? And to go a little bit farther than football, just who he is as a man and how that relates to you.
Yeah, it's incredible. You know, just having him, you know, having someone that knows so much about ball, you know, knows so much about the next level. You know, everyone on the roster aspires to get to that next level, gets to that next, you know, to the league and to the next level. But just having a guy that knows so much about football that you can pick his brain and just learn so much. You know, like from just a short time that I've met him, I've already like learned so much, like things that you wouldn't even think about, like outside of football, or like the little details, like offensive tendencies, why they do certain things, not just learning the defense, but like learning why offenses do certain things at certain times of the game. So you're not only is he making you a better football player, he's making you a smarter football player. And that's once you're a smarter football player, it helps. It kind of plays into the point of playing faster. You know, once you're playing smart, using your head, you know, you're anticipating. You have a feeling of what offenses might do at this certain situation. You allow yourself to play a lot faster. Allow yourself to play more like confident. Just knowing that your coach has give you all the skills, all the tools in your toolbox to go out there and execute each and every day. But yeah, having him as a coach has been incredible. You know, just him and this defense. He can coach any position. You know, he knows everything. You know, you can ask him about safeties, linebackers, D-line, anything he knows. So just being able to pick his brain, like I said earlier, and just watching him interact. But his coaching style is amazing. You know, he can adjust to whoever he's coaching to. Like kind of how KD was just saying, like if he knows how to coach certain players. You know, not everyone's coached the same. Not everyone needs to be yelled at. Not everyone needs to be, you know, you just got to figure out. And you got to learn the player, and that's going to come with time. You know, he's a new DC. He's learning the defense more and more each and every day. He's being more talkative and just being there for us. So just learning the defense and learning his players, it's only going to get better from here.
Jaden, we got 2 minutes left. We'll get in one last question to your left.
Okay. Owen Hillman, WVFS Tallahassee. Last year, you were chosen to be the person to wear number 25 in honor of Frank Beamer. How great is it to receive that distinction as a player?
It's huge. You know, just being this university, special teams is huge. You know, and that's really one of the key focal points. You know, for us is that special teams, because special teams can change the game. You know, our special team coordinator always says it's like a play that averages 70 yards every play. You know, it's the one. So just being, you know, whether it's punt, kickoff, whatever it is, we take that very seriously. We start every practice with special teams, so it's very high on our board, and it's always important each and every day, no matter if you're a defensive player, offensive player. Special teams is very important here, and that's kind of what you sign up for once you come to Tech, because you know the history about special teams and Beamer ball.
Virginia Tech, thank you very much. Players, coach, have a great season.
Thank you.